o'clock.
You're coming on Friday, aren't you?
Yes, party, isn't it? I heard. It's a party, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Chocolate cake the lot. You cake.
Yeah.
Cake.
Okay.
Cups and sauces.
Yes, we can sort that out. And an urn as well?
I'll basically.
Yeah, yeah, we sort that
I'll
out.
bring all the coffee and milk and it.
Yeah, yeah. It's all, yeah, all in hand, so.
I think it's about 20 on it.
But, oh,
Gallery, 3 o'clock.
Boys.
Dunno.
Oh,
that's it, that's the one.
that's it. You didn't say Friday, did you? Away from
Okay, we're counting the seconds.
Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we don't seem to have Mr. Mayor, Councillor Chuka, so.
I was a bit technical as well.
Right, shall we go live now? Are we okay live?
Yeah, we're live.
Great, so we can welcome to Monkswell Nature Reserve Committee. And if we can welcome Andrew Lipczynski. I must have said it right.
Yeah, Lipczynski.
Lipczynski. Lipczynski. So starting off, apologies for absence received. I believe we have a Councillor Carter has apologised. We don't have.
We haven't heard from Councillor Morehouse, I don't believe.
No.
And we've had apologies from D. Govan.
Yeah, she's in France.
Right.
Selfish.
Right, we can move on to declarations of interest, to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interests from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda. I don't believe there's anything there. Minutes, to receive and approve the minutes of the Monkswell Nature Reserve Committee held on the 4th of June 2025, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. That's attachment 3. Has anybody got any comments on the minutes of the last meeting?
No.
I will take that as a no. Can I have somebody to propose for acceptance? That's Councillor Ripley, and to second, Councillor
Franklin.
I'm smart, Chairman.
Mine's not working. If you just vote on this, and so we can accept the minutes. Right, that's 4 of us.
Okay, moving on to public participation. A 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect to the business on the agenda. I'll just finish reading this one. Individual representation should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak, together with the topic to be addressed, must be given to the town clerk at least 4 hours in advance of the meeting. I believe we have we don't actually have. No, thank you very much. Moving straight on to the report from the Monkswell Nature Reserve Warden. Members to receive a report from Monkswell Nature Reserve Warden that spans the period from the end of May 2025 to mid-September. Members are invited to receive the report. And Ken, over to you.
Okay. I think the paperwork's been sent out to everybody. A lot of what's in my report we're going to be talking about as a major item on the agenda anyway, to do with the sluice. But I've listed in my report here, I've went out on 36 occasions since the end of May, total of 46 hours, which is about average for the summertime, and it's a bit quieter. Second item in my report, I've just reminded colleagues about the new management plan that was accepted in May of this year, and then listed some of the things that in theory were scheduled for this autumn. Footpath clearance, building up of gateways, and we have had quotes from the contractors for that work.
We had to go ahead on that.
Yeah.
So we've received that, yes.
Yeah. There are one or two other bits and bobs there which we don't need contractors to do. For example, I've put painting of the existing bird hides in weatherproof paint. If you look on this little photographic thing that I've produced for colleagues, if you look on the second side, you'll see a picture of the main bird hide there. Do a lick of weatherproofing to tidy up.
Yeah.
I think basically, structurally, it's still quite sound. Bear in mind, it's been there for well over 20 years, I think. Certainly 20 years. But it obviously, it looked like at one time someone started painting it from the top and ran out of paint. So it needs a bit of weatherproofing, as does the other bird hide further around the riverbank. So that's what that's about. Also on that same page, I mean, I'll mention it now, I think it may have cropped up on the agenda. We had an incident 2 or 3 weeks ago now, perhaps a month ago. I went out there and discovered that virtually every single chain and padlock on the entire reserve had gone missing overnight. Completely vanished, taken away. And someone had obviously gone out there. It wasn't just a casual vandalism. You know, they'd gone out there either with a hacksaw or an angle grinder or bolt cropper or whatever, and taken the whole lot away. And that's quite serious because they've taken padlocks off gates where the livestock are kept.
Yeah.
And had they left gates open as well, then the livestock could have got out, including out onto the road, the Monk's Way, because they took the padlock off that gate as well. So it was quite urgent that we got those reinstated, and Julian here very speedily ordered and got delivered almost literally within 24 hours.
Yes, yeah.
These even heavier duty
Yeah, you don't get through that.
padlocks, which I have no problem.
Well,
Why on earth would somebody have done that?
to gain access probably, to actually get on there.
Yeah, to
And
what
use
end?
it.
Well,
We'll get camper vans, next to the caravans.
It was definitely so. It wasn't just a one-off, was it? Going
No,
around?
no,
It was definitely targeted.
every single gate.
Yeah.
So it was either that, or the other thing that vaguely occurred to me is that someone who's got a motorcycle or a friend with motorcycles, they were pinching the chains to for security for their motorbikes. But I think it's more likely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Was it reported to the police?
I didn't report it.
No, we
I
didn't.
don't
We
think
didn't,
it was
no.
ever reported, no.
I reckon it's travellers looking for a site.
Yeah, I mean,
To see if it re-secure.
Well, this is what happens. They do it. Go back and see where it's redone in a week's time. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, needless to say, whenever I go on, literally every time I've been back to the reserve since, I've checked as many of the gates as are convenient, particularly the external ones leading onto the main road, and that's still intact all the way around. So hopefully it was a one-off.
I've come across this before with, not personally, but with containers. The certain people come and cut or remove the padlocks on a range of containers and walk away. So it's as much as anything to say, look what we can do.
Yeah, could be that as well. Yeah. On that same page, but it's not listed in my report, but I think it did crop up under the management plan. And while I was out there earlier on today, it just jogged my memory. There was it was agreed in the management plan that we would look at the notice boards at the entrance to the reserve, and I think we were talking about replacing them. And it suddenly occurred to me while I was out there today that these are the two existing boards that are by the main car park. The small one, car park, is up at the top of the ramp, in other words, it's by the road. The other bigger one is actually down inside the car park. And it struck me, I don't know why I hadn't thought of it before.
Swap them around.
Swap them around and have the bigger one.
Yes.
No, the bigger one, the one that says Monkswell Nature with the map is about so big,
Yes.
and that deep. if we swap the notice boards around, we'll have solved that issue.
Yeah.
At no cost, because they're both fixed to a single post, as you can see, with now these wire strappings on the back. So that's, with your consent, I can go and do that almost any time, and that will solve that problem. It would mean that we'll have a more prominent sign where it needs to be at the top of the ramp by the footpath, the public footpath on the Monks Way Road. And the one, reminding people about car parking will actually be in the car park, which again is where it logically needs to be. And then the last photograph at the bottom, this is this ongoing issue that we've had with the dog walker coming in from Harbour Marine. He obviously lives along there. And this photograph I took today, when the contractors were in looking at the sluice a couple of weeks ago, and we asked them to have a look at the possibility of doing something a bit more robust with this gate. This gate, I'm fairly confident, belongs to Highway Marine.
Yeah.
Their property. This is looking eastward, so if you were to go through the gate and walk along there, you'd come to the Marine and the quayside. So that's where we're looking at. Now, this photograph was taken from the reserve side, looking along the riverbank towards the Highway Marine. The dog walker has been getting onto the reserve by going through that gap. You can see the gap at the top of the gate and the fence post next to it, where it splays out like that.
It must be incredibly thin. It must be very thin.
Well, he's a youngish guy. I imagine he's in the late 20s, early 30s, and I've seen him climbing up there both ways, and the dog just scrambles through underneath. The contractors have come up with a suggestion, or at least a quote based on our suggestion, of putting a more robust fence and gate there, what they call a palisade fence.
What would it look like?
It's like that.
Just like that.
Oh, right,
yeah.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, with the hooks on the top.
Yeah.
So it's 2 meters high and then 4 meters across. So
Yeah, and they've come up.
and obviously that will then continue the fence around as well. So he's not going to go through here because it's going to extend both sides.
Yeah.
So we've just got the price in on that one.
Yeah, and I think that Julie and I were quite pleased, quite surprised and delighted with the quote, about £5,000 complete, the whole thing.
Yeah, it's quite a site. Yeah. 4,779, 51 plus VAT.
What, for a gate?
The gate and the fencing. Yeah.
And obviously getting all the
It's
materials, getting the materials on site.
Yeah, that's the whole. That's
Put
everything.
concrete in as well.
Will this require you notifying the Environment Agency because they're funny going through their, there's a barrier, isn't there, membrane barrier on the bank?
Yeah,
They've had the other about the light. Yeah, apparently we shouldn't have done that.
So it actually has a padlock on it that the EA have access to.
No, it's digging a hole in the ground.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Because they've got this membrane buried there.
Right,
And
yes.
if you dig a hole through it, it weakens the riverbank.
Yeah.
So you might have to notify them.
Yeah, we would have to definitely notify them.
Make sure you get that permission before you do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise you do all that and I think you can't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And obviously Harbour Marine will have to be consulted as well, because
Be their gate.
well, there are two alternatives.
Yeah.
We either put our fence, parallel to this one, but that wouldn't work because you'd have problems with the gate.
Does it have to have a
Two
gate?
gates, it wouldn't work.
Why does it have to have a gate? It couldn't just be fenced across.
Well, because the Environment Agency
Yeah.
do need access along there.
They got that.
The padlock that's on that gate is an Environment Agency padlock, it's one of the standard padlocks. I've never seen them come in that way, but they obviously do from time to time. So we would certainly have, before we go any further, we would have to get the Environment Agency permission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, if the dog walker wasn't, getting through here, would we still be considering a gate? Because it seems a lot of
Probably not, to be honest. There is not a lot of through traffic through there.
Right.
He's the only one. But the issue has always been not so much that it's just one person, one man and his dog. It's the, if one person and his dog is allowed to go there, the next, there's nothing to stop other people saying, well, this guy, is going through, why can't I take my dogs through there?
Well, also, if there's been a problem of people wanting to gain access, it seems pointless to leave a weak point in the defence.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying there couldn't be a cheaper solution to the problem, but it seems to me that it would be such a weak point in the outside. I mean, it needs to be strengthened so that people can't get access to the site.
Well, I have to agree. I mean, it would be a one-off, permanent solution.
But it does seem a lot of money.
I've been wondering about the highway marine to tell him that he must be living on one of them boats there, because I have been on Gaze and Salts, and I've shouted at that boat before. And he said, "I'm an hour long." I said, "No, you're not. No dog. Get off." And I think he goes up, and I think perhaps I've got a Port and Haven Commission meeting tomorrow, so I should raise that tomorrow.
Yeah.
To say, do you realise one of your residents on a boat is actually?
I was under the impression that Jill Gray had contacted Highway Marine
Okay.
sometime.
Lindsay had, and I think she even sent an image of the person. And, but I
I'll
didn't
chase him up
think
again tomorrow.
Has he ever been tackled face
No.
up by any? No.
I've spoken to him
Oh, you have?
ages ago when he first started doing it, and he was very, very, very affable, very pleasant, and and his dog was running all over the place, even though the guy had a rope lead with him. And and I explained why dogs were not allowed on the reserve because ground nesting birds and the livestock and so on and so forth. And he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "I can see that." He said, "Don't worry, I won't come back." And then he came back, and Dee Govan, who's not here tonight, will tell you that she's confronted him on a good number of occasions, to the stage now where where she's spoken to him. He just ignores her.
He ignores it, and he ignored me.
So he when I first spoke to the guy, I said, "Well, we don't allow dogs on here." And explained why, and I said, "Can you not take your dog the other way and walk down the green wall or the other side of the river? That's where most people take their dogs for walks, or even up the Ramsgate Road." "Oh no, my dog doesn't like walking on footpaths." I'm tired. I mean, trying to be sympathetic to the guy, you can see it from his point of view. If he lives in a houseboat along there, which he obviously does, it's very handy for him. He can let the dog run away, but it's not good on a nature reserve. I mean, it is. We got the thing with a PSPO order to stop dogs being walked on that. It is protected by PSPO.
and that will be enforceable by Dover District Council.
Yeah.
But whether someone's going to be standing there waiting for someone to come through. But we haven't got we have now got the signs, but I've got signs that will actually point out the fact that there's no dogs. So at least we can refer to the fact that it's not just sort of no dogs on here. Does it explain it? I've got those here for you.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. I had them to you afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I know it seems expensive, but when you see the extent of the work, it's not just the double gates, it's the rest of the fencing and the security. They're not going to get over that. It seems a lot, but I don't think there's any other, personally, I don't think there's another solution to it, apart from getting Dover District Council involved. And I just don't think they're not going to be going out there on patrols.
What if we put one of them old dog cameras there on the gate? Which they use them gates and sorts, don't they? So you actually get a photograph of him, won't you, then?
But we have got the pictures.
We've got photographs.
Oh, you've got pictures?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit blurry, but we know who they are. Yeah.
He's not going to be deterred by that.
No, but perhaps Dover District, they've got better photographs, they can say it's him. And they know where he's living.
Yeah, I suppose really we're just going to bite the bullet and the nature reserve comes first, which means a gate. And I think we've sort of seen that people get away with things.
Yeah.
Can I ask you about the shed? Did you want volunteers to do the shed and repaint them all?
Either that or Julian.
Yeah, so I've actually, now we've got a member of staff who's joined,
Yeah.
part-time. I'd actually spoke to Ken before about this, so we can do that. This one also needs a roof refelting as well.
Yeah.
I would do that now, so we'll do that.
I believe they were Eagle sheds, weren't they?
I think they may well have
And
been.
they've done 20 years, so they've done quite a lot.
They've done really
price.
well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
20 years, I know later on we talk about
Yeah.
that.
yeah, yeah.
Because I did go down to Eagle shed, but I didn't know what happened to the price just on Cape and Shield. So, anyway.
Yeah, so, yeah, we can, so I've looked at one, I haven't looked at the other one, but the one, needs to be
Yeah.
restained, and it does need a felt, the felt replacing.
Ken?
The other bird hide, which is not used very much, it's got a decent corrugated plastic roof, so that's all right. It does need repainting. And next to it is a small shed where there used to be an old diesel water pump.
Oh, yeah.
In the days when it was thought that you could pump water into the reserve to keep it wet. The diesel pump was taken away years
So,
ago.
yeah,
But the shed is, the little hut is still there, and it's got a window in it.
yeah.
And that actually could fairly easily be adapted by someone with some fairly basic carpentry skills to make another little bird hide next to the existing.
Yeah, because we had to buy a special double skin fuel valve and put the diesel in, because you can't have a single skin in case it leaks. That's quite expensive, that little trailer.
I won't talk about the sluice because that's obviously going to be a major agenda item. I've talked about the padlocks and chains, talked about the gate. I'm pleased to report increasing numbers of visitors to the reserve. I know that's of particular interest to councillors, quite rightly. I mean, it is meant to be a public amenity, and there is certainly an uptake in the number of people going onto the reserve. The word is getting round. I think the article that appeared in the town magazine, the summer one, that article there, I think that is. Well, I know it has, but at least one person I met out there said, "Oh, I read about this in the town magazine and thought it'd come out." And another lovely incident about a month ago, I went out there and there were four, shall we say, local residents, all sat in camping chairs on top, all sat on top of the embankment by the car park, drinking tea and coffee out of flasks. And they just walked all the way around the reserve, and they said it was the first time they'd been there and how wonderful it was and how much they'd enjoyed it. And I did mention to them the fact that we were thinking in terms of excavating another scrape and quite close to them. They said, "Oh, that would be wonderful because we could get there and wouldn't have to walk all the way around the entire reserve." So I passed that information now.
Can I just briefly ask here about, because you mentioned previously about publicity, didn't we, and about having posters and everything?
Yeah.
Have we done anything about
Yeah,
that?
that's on this list for the management plan. I haven't got around to it yet.
Okay.
I mean, it's a matter of an afternoon's work drafting out one.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the council has a preferred printer that you can use for these things, just for printing leaflets. Because presumably you want them, glossy, three trifold leaflets.
It's got nice like that, doesn't it? To go in your pocket then, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, somebody's signed.
Well, I use a company called Solo Press, which good quality and very, very good price.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solo.
Solo Press.
SOLO.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at getting 1,000 copies run or a couple of thousand, it's not going to cost more than, I don't know, 100.
Might even be less than that.
Other printers are.
Yeah. So I can get on with that. That's no problem. And I've got the photographs, whatever.
Could we have some big ones as well that could go on notice boards and things?
I think we will, but.
So that would be a A1 size.
Well, these things, I was thinking of literally these tripod things
Yeah,
like
but
that.
just a couple of extra.
Yeah.
You could just get that over down to back and front, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they can, no problem.
No, I'm just thinking about to put around the town so people are aware of it, you know, by,
Yeah.
in various locations perhaps.
Yeah,
But the format for the leaflet would fit in well with the others that we have here.
yeah, in the display out there. Yeah, and of course, it would be possible in the two main entrances to have a little, a little wooden box to put
Yes.
something, with
Yeah.
a lid on.
Sorry.
That's,
Ken, do you want us to vote on this to approve this, or are you happy going ahead with it?
I'm happy to go ahead with that, yeah, unless you want.
Let's have a proposal, and then, because I think we're all going to vote yes. So, Councillor Ripley proposing and Councillor Pennington seconding, and we're all going to.
So 1,
Sorry.
3, 2.
Were you unanimous?
Yeah, unanimous. There we go.
What about the fence and the swapping of the signs?
We can vote on that. I was going to vote on the, at the very end, vote that we've noted and that we've agreed the various suggestions. But we can vote on the things as we go through. Yeah. Let's just do that. On the fence, if we can vote that we approve that. So a proposer, again, Councillor Ripley, Councillor Pennington, and show of hands, yes. And the various signs being swapped, I have a proposer.
Go on, keep that consistent and make sure that's an easy.
Three in a row. Councillor Pennington, seconding. Was that a second?
I think so. What was the proposal?
It was the, swapping the signs around. Swapping the signs. And if we just show of hands, yeah, we're all in agreement. Yeah, you have our support.
Right. Thank you, Chair. I've skipped over another fairly major item, actually. And that's this thing about the planning application. I had to remind myself by looking back through the minutes of these meetings, but it was February 2024 when the committee approved the go-ahead for the new scrape and new bird height. And then, for all sorts of reasons, we won't go into, nothing happened, mostly because of things to do with the Environment Agency, whatever. And then the suggestion was made of going out to find a local planning consultancy that might offer to do it. And I believe someone from Finns was eventually identified. And again, nothing has happened on that score. So in order to press things along a little bit, I'm now resurrecting the idea that I'm quite happy to do the planning application. I have some track record of this. This is the planning application that I drew up for a similar thing at Sandwich Bay on behalf of the Bird Observatory. Andrew, being involved at Sandwich Bay, will vouch for the fact that this is what happened, with the thing at the front saying, yes, you've been successful. On the face of it, the planning application for the planned scrape of Monk's Wall is more straightforward than this, because it won't have issues, or shouldn't have issues like archaeology. It shouldn't have issues like being overlooked by buildings, because there aren't any that overlook it. The only thing that will have to be taken into account is the fact that the Environment Agency will have a major input into it because of it being in a flood protection area. As I say, I'm happy to do it, and I think I could have a planning application more or less ready for submission by the end of this calendar year.
Do I remember there was a sort of catch-22 situation that the planning people wouldn't accept it without the Environment Agency agreeing, and
vice versa? Yeah, the agency said, it's very unlikely we'll give you permission until you've got planning permission. And then the planners would say, well, we can't give you planning permission until the Environment Agency agree. But I think the way around that is to draw up the planning application, have it more or less finalised, and then, you know, just liaise between the planners and the person. I have a contact at the Environment Agency who gave me advice before when I first floated the idea of the new scrape. So assuming that she's still in post, I can get back to her and get advice on that. The other thing is that, you know, if this went out to consultancy, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know whether any colleagues actually saw any of the quotes, but you're probably talking about hundreds of pounds per hour.
Yeah.
Bear in mind also that if you did go out to a consultant, one of the things that they would almost certainly want to do is to meet with me.
Yeah.
So I would end up, I think, writing a large part of the application myself.
Yes.
So what I'm proposing is that I would be prepared to do this planning application. You know, obviously liaising and reporting back to colleagues on a regular basis, just as part of the normal remuneration that you give me anyway.
Yeah.
So it will work out literally a fraction of the price if you actually you know, went down the road of getting a planning
Can we go
consultant.
straight into voting on that?
Yeah.
Councillor Morehouse proposing, Councillor Clinton seconding,
Yeah, definitely.
and we're all happy with that?
Yeah, we've had a discussion with the Environment Agency, haven't we? We're not taking anything off the reserve, we're just moving it.
No.
From one part to that piece, so it's.
Yeah, you're quite right. All that they're concerned about is losing storage volume, water storage volume. If it's just a case of redistributing what's already there, which is all we're talking about,
Yeah.
then they won't have a problem with that.
We're happy with you.
They might need a bit of, you know, just a couple of site meetings and whatever, but I'm sure we can persuade them. I think recently, you know, Julian was in touch with them. You know, we want to get some of the gateways need, you know, they've got all churned up by the cattle going through. They need rebuilding with hardcore, and the MRF contractors have quoted for that. And I understand that the agency were asking what sort of volume of hardcore would be put down. I mean, you're talking about 20 odd acres of land out there, and they were concerned about how much soil or rubble hardcore is going to be brought on just to rebuild 2 or 3 gateways. So they are concerned about it, but we're not talking about, as I say, bringing stuff onto the land for the spray. We're talking about just redistributing what's already there. Okay. Right. I mean, with this planning application, the first stage, then, you know, thanks for approving that. My first move will be to go down to Dover and set up what's called a pre-planning meeting. When I did the Rest Harrow scrape one at Sandwich Bay, I was fortunate. I met with Lucinda Loach, she was one of the senior planners, and she gave me a whole load of guidance and steerage. But assuming the paperwork and the forms haven't changed very much over the last 5 or 6 years, and I've got all the paperwork there anyway, so I'm fairly familiar with the process.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, we'll move straight on to, and essentially back to Ken as well.
Yeah.
Sluice repair update. Property manager to share a report on the progress with investigating the repair of the faulty sluice gate for Knoxville Nature Reserve.
Julian, do you know
Yes,
this?
yes, yes, of
I'm
course.
quite happy to chip in. I think I've
No, that's fine. No, that's no problems at all. So as we know, we've had a sluice gate's been leaking. So the idea was to get a structural engineer to actually come up with a solution rather than playing around, trying it, and then finding there was a problem again, which happened in the past. So, you know, there's been an attempt to fix it. So we've got the structural engineers out. They came up with their design and all the specification. Ken and I then had a meeting with the contractors, and they went away and so there were initially there were two options. So all the work that was in the drawing that was presented, plus either replacing a panel the two panels with a single panel, or removing and resetting to the current panels, resetting them back together, reinstating them, securing them basically. So at the time when I did my report here, I hadn't received the figures. I hadn't received the figures from the company, but I know when I was having conversations with them, it was probably going to be a cheaper option to actually keep the existing and secure them with steel plates. We then had the price come through, or the price of those two options actually came in, and they were, to fix the plates was £31,000, 299.30, or to replace one, do it with one panel was 31,366.38. I thought, you know, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of money. So then what I did, I thought, well, okay, let's look at another option. Let's look at the option of doing part of the work that's on their survey to the left, sorry, on their drawing, which is to the left as you stand on the sluice, which will reinforce that side and go for a single panel. So it will be more robust than what we've got at the moment. We will only deal with one side of the sluice, and not the right-hand side. But part of the work was going to put in a concrete beam and put on also a rail, because there's only one rail one side of the sluice. So I was looking at doing putting another rail in, but because that work was to the right-hand side, that work would be taken out of the equation. So I thought what I'd do, obviously having come up with that, got the price back off the contractor. Two options on that was to say either two panels or one panel and do all the work on the left-hand side. So what I then did is spoke with the structural engineer and said, look, you know, this is what we're faced with. This is the price. I've got your drawing. We've got the drawings. Let's have a chat. And he said, if you stick to the left, you know, you're going to be fine. It's going to be the solution. Yes, it's not the whole belt and braces approach. You won't have your rail, but it's going to be enough. And the price on that was 21,102.59, which will obviously have to then go to full council.
The thing is that's worrying me is the cost, because you're already talking about, it's the cost, we're already talking about the scrape, and now you're talking about this, and I don't think you've got enough money in the bank.
Councillor Pennington?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want reassurance that in only tackling the left-hand side, it doesn't risk creating a problem on the right.
Yes, so when we do the left-hand side, we're actually going right into the bank, right over here. Then we've got the sandbags filled with concrete. So it is still a major job that we're doing, and that's why I wanted to clarify with the engineers that will be sufficient on that side. That's the side that can tell you has been the problem side. And yeah, I obviously wanted to check with him, but the sheet piling is going right across, right into the bank. And that's one of the problems at the moment. You've got a sluice, and it's just and the water will find its way. It's sand and silt. It will always find its way through unless you come up with something, you know, really robust. So that will deal with it, go in that direction.
And just going back to Councillor Franklin's comment about the money. Where is, I think we've spoken about the money on this before.
Yeah.
Just to remind ourselves where the money is coming from.
Okay, so I did check with the interim RFO, but money is available. And there's over 100,000, he confirmed to me.
Yeah.
Because we did get grants on the scrape, haven't we?
Yeah.
So that's what I know it's been sitting there a couple of years now since you did.
Yeah.
But we haven't applied for any grants for this, have we?
No.
Is it available? Can you get grants for it or not?
No, it's the grant aid for the other scrape was under the countryside security system higher tier. It was a one-off.
Yeah.
The higher tier is now winding down. In fact, next year, end of 2026, is the last year that we'll be able to claim even the 3,000 annual payment they've been giving us, which does raise an issue about what we do after that. But perhaps I can mention that in a moment. Yeah, so the other, so the new scrape, the one that councillors approved in February last year, we have to pay for. If you remember the other scrape, the one that the countryside stewardship scheme paid for, they actually gave us something like £38,000. It actually cost about 18 or 19,000.
Oh, sweet.
No, that's all right. It's perfectly legitimate. There's no sort of no scam involved. That's how they do it. They have a going rate for by square metre, and it just happened to be more than And I did actually follow this up with Mark Chandler. And he said, "Oh no," he said, "No, that's their going rate. If you can do it cheaper, fine." But for the next one, yes, it's a cost for the council itself. Just going back to this sluice thing, if you look at these photographs, and I'm just picking up on what Julian had said. This is looking at it with the slab on the right-hand side of the sluice. Julian was referring to the left. If you're standing on top of the sluice, obviously you're looking at it the other way. And you can see the guys there when they installed the sluice, and they're looking more than happy with themselves. They did have to come back after about a year to repair it in about 2020, 21, because it was already leaking from that same side where I put the red circle. And then they put a load more earth on top where the men are standing there, and they came back and dumped a load more earth on top to pack it down even more. But we think, and what happened when they did that was, if you look at the next photograph across, the one that's got the sluice with the slab in the middle, what I didn't realise until about a month ago, when I was in there with a bucket, not a bucket, a spade, with a spade, I didn't realise that concrete baffle there actually, as Julian has hinted at, is actually two concrete slabs sitting on top of each other. And what we think has happened was that when the men came back and did the repair, the clay they dumped on the top has dislodged one of those slabs. So the water was now able to pour over there. And it's also, as you can see in the bottom photograph, it's also undermined the bottom of the slab and is pouring round, and it's formed a channel or a tunnel. If you look at in the photograph where the men are, the guy standing with his arms on his hips, just behind him is where the water is actually coming out. It's formed a tunnel all the way through and is pouring out behind him and running down to the river. And because that tunnel bypasses the sluice, that's why it's not been possible or obviously sensible to try and control the water by operating the sluice, because the water is just bypassing it. And that is why we've ended up with most of the water on the reserve draining off over the last couple of months, which it will continue to do. The water level is dropping on a daily basis, basically. So it is like an urgent repair if we're going to maintain control over the water.
Yes. Just to clarify, the sluice like this, I presume it should just last for decades.
Should do, yeah.
Right. So in fact, we're not. We're putting in a permanent fix on the side that's broken and expecting the other side to normally last decades.
The other side, where the side where the guy is sitting on the concrete slab there's never been any suggestion of any leakage on that side. It's always been on that other side, side nearest the riverbank.
Right. Now, do we need to vote on this? And this is going to go to STC.
It is for council because of
Can we?
Can't vote on it because we didn't receive all 4 quotes prior to this meeting. We only received 2, the £30,000 one. So we did.
I think one. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No.
I think one of the problems was that when this was put out to tender, The company that originally, I mean, Julian will put me right on this because he handled this. The company who originally installed the thing weren't interested. Another local,
They never did it, and the subcontractors are not in business anymore.
the subcontractors are aren't in business anymore.
Yeah.
One other company did express an interest but didn't show up.
Exactly. Another one wanted to sell a whole new sluice gate,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, it's,
Yeah. It is a specialist area, of course, repair and solutions. The only company that have come up with a very detailed estimate, which they always do, is MRF.
Yeah.
Who are the people who did the scrape last year and various other bits and pieces.
Those are what we
But-
think is the best option.
Yes, because you've got, oh yes, I get that, but from us, because you have put this comment about under procurement rules with regard to certain suppliers being competent, being a repair and the urgency, implying that we can go for a single quote.
we certainly can, full council can, at that level, because it's under 25,000.
So as a committee, we can recommend to full council that we go ahead with this.
Yes, one particular quote being the 3178 V3.
3178
V3, which is a one single panel and the work to the left-hand side.
Right.
And that is appendix 2 on what will be going forward to the full council for next Monday's meeting.
Right.
That's the only recommendation I'm making.
Right. If we can say that we support that, and Councillor Pennington is proposing, and Councillor Morehouse is seconding, we can vote on that. I think that's again unanimous. Great.
Good.
And
If it's VAT payable, so can we claim it back?
Sorry,
If there's VAT payable on this sluice, can we claim the VAT back to the charity?
you should be able to.
I will check with the IRFO, but I'm pretty sure.
I mean, the quote does include VAT
Yeah.
to the tune of.
So include VAT, if we can claim it back.
Yeah.
Is that 21 plus?
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
inclusive. Yeah.
All right. so
The,
it's-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, where are we? Subtotal excluding that is 16,709.
So that one is the more expensive one. It's the more expensive one. It's not that one.
Oh, it's not that.
No, they're the two together. It's the next one. It's the next one.
Next
But
one up.
yeah.
if we're done there, we can go on to the action
Yeah.
log for Monksville Nature Reserve. Committee to debate the action log and to consider the outstanding actions, which is attachment 7. I'm sure you've all got that, which I will try to read because it's very, very small. Okay, town clerk to clarify with the RFO the position with
These
this.
ones were completed.
Right, these are completed.
Yeah, they're done.
Oh, here we are, in progress. So yes, okay, for the progress, thank you very much. Right, a dog walker is using, we've spoken about the dog walker, so I think we can move on from there. Completed here, completed, closed, in progress, here we are. To follow up the Environment Agency and the volunteer tree warden, if there are opportunities for additional tree planting on the reserve. So basically, can we plant any more trees?
No, they took them down. They don't want them there. It's the opposite.
Right,
Yeah.
so no more trees.
They don't want any trees planted anywhere near their embankments.
No, not
no.
Having said that, I think there is an opportunity for tree planting, and that is in the
There's that
the
triangle, isn't there?
well, it's a rectangular field actually. The one I'm thinking of. If you come onto the reserve from the Stonner, and you go through the gate. Trying to do it upside down.
Yes.
There's a rectangular field there between the riverbank and the track coming in from Stonner.
Yeah.
It's a very boring bit of rough grassland and thistle. And I think it could easily be planted up with trees. One of the things which I think earlier on I did skip over it, but the other day I was looking at what is going to replace the countryside stewardship scheme that we're signed up to, because they're just bringing out the what you can claim for. And there are a number of things which I think we could claim for Monk's Wall, including the planting of trees and tree guards. But that would be from 2026, end of 2026 onwards. But yes, I mean, that would be the logical place. It's of no interest, from a wetland point of view. It's a dry, boring, barren area. It's got trees down the side of it anyway, sycamore trees. And we could easily fill that in with willow trees and alder trees and make it another habitat.
Yeah.
And there, because there wouldn't be a problem, you could wind a footpath through there, for people to walk on another route through that area.
Do we have an idea of what size, how many acres, and the number of trees we might be looking at?
We can measure that out.
We can measure that up. So I'm trying to do a quick bit of mental arithmetic here. It's about 50 metres by 200 metres. What's that?
What's that in feet?
15, about 1,000 metres, 1,000 square metres.
Yeah.
It's about a kilo a hectare,
Yeah. So we're looking at.
which is 2.5 acres, give or take.
Yeah.
So we just form like a little box in it.
Yeah.
So a couple of thousand trees.
Yeah. Well, if they were small trees, the alternative.
They start off small.
Yes, yeah. The alternative, and certainly one of the things that the new stewardship thing will fund, is the planting of what they call parkland trees. So they would actually pay for a smaller number, give you a bigger grant to plant bigger trees, and also pay for the tree guards to go around with the big tree guards. And of course, that means you get a woodland quicker. The logical thing to do would be to have a mixture, lots of small saplings, and then dot half a dozen. But that's further down the road.
Yeah. So this is something that we can discuss.
So it's the possibility of further tree planting is there in that particular rectangle.
It's a very positive thing. Moving on in progress. Hold on. Let's refocus. Sluice repair is required. Now we've covered that, so I won't go on that one. And we have nothing here, so I presume.
Do you want me to read it?
Oh, if you've got.
Yeah,
If you also.
special specs.
Oh, special specs.
A like-for-like comparison is required from two contractors for the provision of a new bird hide. This is not a priority, as the scrape will require plan permission from us and the NEA permit.
I don't really quite understand that, because we already had several quotes for the new bird hide. And we accepted, I think I'm right in saying, the one from a company called Gilliard's.
Yes, I remember that.
From Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
I think just to remind colleagues, I think this was not the cheapest, but it certainly wasn't the dearest. The other one I think we looked at was so cheap, it was clearly, not anything more than a garden shed. And I think on the basis of the very detailed quote that Gilliard submitted, I think that was why colleagues accepted it.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yes. So
I think that is possibly a misstatement of the situation.
And over to you on that one.
Budget needs to be read for the autumn of 25 to progress the management plan. This should be in July 25. Have we done a budget?
I don't think we've done a budget. Have we done a budget?
Well, the management plan that colleagues accepted in May
Yes.
had the chart at the back of it.
Yes, we did.
Had all the costs,
We
or
agreed on.
indicative costs.
We agreed that, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, we do have a budget. So that's completed.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So we are.
Is there any actions you want me to take in with regards to the trees?
I think we're sitting on that until.
Yeah. It's not an immediate thing.
Yeah.
Unless What might be possible, and I'm quite happy to look into this, I can contact the Woodland Trust, because they very often do have free trees. If they do, then we'll have some.
Yeah.
And we can probably get, the tree warden, Nikki Warden.
Yeah.
With her crew to come and stick it in.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with Nikki a few weeks back, and I have a vague feeling I can't remember the detail, but I will have a look again and see what we were discussing, because a lot of it was about the planting up potentially in Monk's Wall as well.
Right.
Yeah, I had a meeting with Nikki and someone from Kent. It was Kent County Council, I believe. So it's a little while ago. Because of what's been chopped down, they've got to replace, and it's a certain amount per tree that they've taken down. So they've got them there.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So I had a meeting with them, and so it's a possibility. The only thing it's okay for them to, they're easy enough to plant them, easy enough to put a little protection around, but it's the ongoing later down the line,
management,
and that's where the expense is. It's further down the line.
Yes, because
it's got to be very careful.
2 or 3 years ago, the Nikki Warden and her team planted a whole load of hedgerow trees along the footpath at the base of the A256. They're all still there and they are growing.
Yeah.
But I noticed at the time she was very keen that someone go in there and cut the grass around to give them a better starting point.
Yeah.
I've kept my eye on them, and although they're struggling up through grass that high, most of the hedgerow trees have actually survived.
We had trouble with Cowsley, Simon. He started drying out in Cowsley, I think Simon went out with a little trailer with this on water.
We had recently when the volunteers been injured and said, well, can you now go out and do it? So we've got to have to take on that. So it's just be mind. I think everyone has to be mindful of it. It seems great to start with. It is that space, but once they then grow big enough, then it looks after itself, because you've got it's sheltered underneath. So I know exactly areas we obviously looked there, and I think we want also for picnics as well, some openings. Some clearings there, so we'll deal with that.
So planting will be aiming for 2026, end of 20, will be beginning.
Well, if we go for this thing from the countryside stewardship scheme, we'd need to submit an application to go through that. But in the meantime, I think there's no reason why we shouldn't investigate with the Woodland Trust. And through Nikki Warden, I'm quite happy to follow that.
I can do that.
Or you
but all the contacts.
Okay, so date and time
I'll
of
do that
meeting,
with
3rd of December, 2025. Thank you very much for attending, it's great. Good meeting.